compare today?
Well, I think they're pretty equal. Like you have the top tier infantry players on both sides. Maybe more on the
HOZ is
Hydra
also
side,
in
but I
here.
do think they both can win their 50-50 fights if the
Even Ibden
strategy
is
is right.
playing. What?
So I'm pretty interesting how everything goes.
Cool. And knowing Hydra has the Bling Air, they obviously don't have as many pilots, knowing from the past matches as DIOR has. But how effective do you think Hydra will be at fending off that mass amount of air DIOR has?
Well, I do think they can challenge DIOR. Like they have a couple of good infantry players that can also flex into air to keep the DIOR air busy, sort of say. And it also depends what the shift of players is going to be, right? How many standard players you're going to have in air. And if there is already a disbalance in that, then yeah, the other team needs to react on it or just soak it up that you have less people in the air and try to win on another front, on infantry especially. So yeah, I do think they will challenge DIOR, but yeah, if they lose it once, I think it's going to be hard for them to take it back from DIOR, the air dominance, so to say.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. Both these teams having very good pilots. Just looking at Cobalt in general, of course. And then next up, like obviously, we both played for Red Mist this season. We got out last week, but we have experience playing both of these teams. You've FC'd against both of them. Do you think either of these teams is like a big weakness that the other one is going to exploit by like after reviewing the VODs of them or basically hearing from others? Do you think they have a weakness that's like easy to exploit or something like that?
Well, what I do think is that, like, what you saw in the a couple of matches before, like also especially our matches, that we didn't have sufficient amount of skilled air, so to say, and DIOR worked against that, and same with Hydra went well against it by saying, okay, we're gonna focus a lot on air, and we're gonna seize that air as long as possible and use it to our advantage. I do think though both teams will try to get that air since that's the most important thing you have here in Outfit Wars. Because if you lose air, you're kind of fucked. But maybe you can still flex a bit and contest the air, so to say. I don't think that one or another has a weakness in that the other will exploit on that. But I do think strategy is more important, especially these top tier matches like Hydra, Hot, and DIOR, where strategy is a little bit more important than the other matches, and skill is almost equal amongst the individual players. So yeah, the air battle is going to be amazing, that's for sure. And then what will lead out of that is the stronger team, or that will eventually win the match, of course, which is
All
logic.
right, cool. And with that, the match is about to start. Timer just hit 0, so in a couple seconds, the teams will be leaving their warp gates. We're currently looking at the DIOR warp gates. Also for the viewers, I just want to say real quick that we will be having multiple POVs today. A couple of Red Mist people are providing them for us, and Jokoi will be kindly switching between the views. So yeah, let's get right into it. Let's start with the air battle.
Yeah, so what we're seeing right now is just now another perspective from the NC side. So again, as it looks right now, is that heavy openers on both sides with a lot of pre-pills that you saw definitely on the DIOR side, and a lot of galaxies also to bring that into the fight. So yeah, air battle is going fiercely.
Yeah, and I think or the colors should be fine today because I see Hydra as the blue team and yours the red team, so it should be easy to follow for you guys. At the moment, the air battle is still heavily going on. I'm seeing more Mozzies than Reavers at the moment, though, so it seems like DIOR might be getting the upper hand here.
So what we're seeing right now is that DIOR goes full air, like you saw it on the warp gate, and I see also now that I just saw in the bottom of the screen that Hydra is pushing in with Thunders on Bitter Gorge Garrison. So they kind of send people to do other stuff, which lead to more vehicle kills on DIOR side in the opener. So it really depends now how Hydra is using those Thunderers, etc., to get the advantage on Bitter Gorge, it seems.
Now we're currently seeing a high infantry presence from Hydra at the C point here on Bitter Gorge. A couple of drops coming in from DIOR, but that might just be people dying in their airplanes. But it's mostly Hydra that's on this base right now.
Yeah, and again, a lot of DIOR air. It seems that they have the air cover or the air advantage, and it seems that Hydra wants to steal or get this base as soon as possible in their reach.
As we know from our own experience, though, a Hydra, DIOR, I mean, is going to be putting some heavy pressure on this with Banshees now. So Hydra really needs to make sure they have some spawn points up so they can get back in there. It's the Banshee presence at this base is quite hard and not easy to deal with if you
So
don't
what
have
we
the air control.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what we saw also in our match, right? We saw that DIOR was focusing more on the middle base, on Granite Head Reactor, and less on Bitter Gorge Garrison. And actually, what you're seeing right now is that what they're doing back then is that you see a lot of infantry presence of DIOR here on Granite Head Reactor, less on Bitter Gorge. But the air presence is just there, and it seems that Hydra is trying to contest that air, but it's not looking good.
Exactly. It seems like Granite Head was going fully in the way of DIOR with barely any Hydra presence. Looks like Hydra did do a repull though, but they're once again getting fended off by the mass amount of air that DIOR still has up.
Yeah. So basically, you see a little bit of a replay of DIOR, what they especially did against us. So maybe they did it also in other matches. But what you see is that the focus is on Granite Head, the focus is on the air, and Hydra has more focus on Bitter Gorge, get that first base, and it seems that they just got it, and then contest the air once in a while.
Yeah, so on the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the map overview. The northern middle base just turned blue, which means Hydra did get it. And now there's a mass redeploy from Hydra going to Granite Head, excuse me. And they're going to try and steal this from DIOR by the looks of it, because DIOR still doesn't have the A point flipped. They're pushing into the C building right now, flipping the point. Lots of infantry battles going on.
But they're on the C point, so that's probably their only Sundra. If there is a mass push out of that, they probably have only one Sundra there, which can be tricky because if that Sundra dies, they don't have a solid spawn option because DIOR is just in the air. They have the galaxies. They can just redeploy into the galaxy or spawn in their galaxy and get back on the point. And
Yeah,
so
I'm
hopefully
guessing,
they're protecting it.
I'm guessing one of those 3 galaxies is indeed a lodestar that is deployed. DIOR is re-pushing this point right now. They seem to be getting control of it, but the other 2 points are flipped for Hydra, so they're not having an easy time here by the looks of it.
But they have B point. Oh, it's flipping right now. But they had B point. They had A point. So yeah, I'm very curious if that Sundra is still alive for Hydra.
Yeah, I'm excited to see who does end up getting this base. I'd also like to see what's going on at Setcom. Is it flipped at all, or what's happening there? There do seem to be quite a few DIOR people coming from the galaxy, so that's still a spawn point that Hydra does need to take care of.
But a lot of Hydra presence at the moment also here on the Granite Head Reactor. And the air is still going.
Yeah, some very nice air battles. Seeing quite a few Reavers again now, so looks like Hydra did another repull of their air.
Yeah,
They have
but
a lot of work ahead of them.
we see that DIOR still has air dominance since those galaxies are just untouched basically. But what we see is that probably Hydra is taking DIOR a very long time on the air or focusing on the air, and they have more infantry players sorted on the Granite Head Reactor. It's just a speculation, but that means that there are more Hydra infantry to keep those bases. Or they're gonna get all out of the air on the DIOR side to get these bases, or eventually Hydra will win it due to the sheer numbers of infantrymen.
Exactly, and the majority of points do seem to be going to Hydra right now. Yeah, I think DIOR does have a harasser on A point that's flipping it, so that's going to be troublesome to take care of. But as for the other points, it's all for Hydra at the moment, with just 1 minute and 35 seconds left on the cap timer. It's actually impressive from Hydra that they're able to hold this so well with all these spawn points up for DIOR above them. it's not an easy task for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah, I'm fairly interested in how many spawn options are still left of Hydra since DIOR have the air control. Like it's hard to get a Sunder then in onto the granite head reactor if your Sunder is lost, for instance. So maybe it's still up, who knows? But Hydra's giving them a fight, and for sure we have an interesting match going on.
Yeah, here is the harasser I was talking about. That's holding down A point. Hydra is trying to contest it right now, but it's not the easiest. There we go, it goes down. So Hydra is able to take A point, but they do lose the other two, so...
Oh,
Yeah.
they lost C point now too. Yeah, C and B are flipping right now.
Very good fight here at Granite Head.
So you see at this moment how air dominance is such an important thing, or keep the air, for instance, busy on outfit wars. You have so much mobility of spawning, so much mobility in doing or transitioning basically, that you need to have an answer to a team that has better air, for instance, or have more pilots sorted out. 17 seconds, and DIOR seems to have a firm control, but while saying that, the cost curse just appeared, and B point and C point are flipping.
Yeah, this could get very interesting in the last few moments here. B point looks like it's DIOR's. C point is flipping though. This could go to Hydra in the end. They managed to get that point.
In the meantime, what I'm looking right now is that Setcom is flipped for DIOR. So it's an equal base cap right now. So everything comes down on this fight. Who's winning the opener?
Just 4 seconds left. And there we go. Went the way of DIOR.
Yeah. So now it's the question. So the better teams basically know how to transition forward and backwards. And it seems that already DIOR is contesting the hydroponics base. But however, Hydra is there to defend it.
Yep, there were only 30 seconds on the cap as well, so that's a good backup from DIOR.
Yeah, and due to the fact that they have Bitter Gorge, they can always contest a Granite Head Reactor, of course, on the Hydra side. So I'm very curious what are the next steps for both teams.
Yeah, we will be seeing it here in a couple moments. First, we're going back to the air fight. It seems like DIOR still has these two galaxies up. These might be the ones that were sitting on top of Granite Head Reactor while they were trying to cap it. And they're now recycling them and using them again in the air.
So this is basically a big problem for Hydra. Like Hydra is basically pushed back towards the Nexus base. DIOR has the air cover, so they can assign people to go for air to ground, for instance, to help the infantry out. But it seems that Hydra is pulling more air to push DIOR back. Very good strategy.
Yeah. They got their Havocs equipped. The galaxies are dying. Yeah, this looks like air dominance for Hydra at the moment. But we're probably gonna see a repull from DIOR then at some point.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna expect a reaction from DIOR for this. And that reaction is on hydroponics, it seems. So the base is prepped, the infantry is on hydroponics, while Hydra is getting air control. And see how long this hold can last until Hydra switches to infantry or goes to ground pounding. But saying that, the caster cores appeared again and the A point is flipping.
Yeah, we got Halo spot on the A point here. Dorf coming in. And he gets the kill and he's back on the point. But there's definitely more Hydra players around here.
It's good to see some good old Hydra players also there, like Halo spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun to see those guys again. But hydroponics is saved, it seems. But there's still a solid spawn option here. Cloak bus behind the wall. In the meantime, we see that the Argent Pass is flipped, if that is correct. We see that Argent Pass is flipped on for Hydra on the DIOR side.
Yeah, but DIOR is reacting by pushing Bitter Gorge, basically trying to cut them off at Argent Pass. Seeing a heavy presence here. Many galaxies around for DIOR that are still going. Hydra does have a couple tanks up though, taking care of the spawn options from DIOR. But on A point, there's definitely a heavy presence for the DIOR side.
And still that air presence. Like Hydra contested them, it seems that it was going the good way, but the ground pounding already started for DIOR here on Bitter Gorge.
Yep, we're seeing the infantry battle progress here. DIOR does seem to be losing some players on this A point, and there's a push from Hydra coming from the double stack. So they likely have a spawn point there as well. See a Sunderer driving in the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, and we see also
Oh, that's
Prowlers
a
on the
Vanguard,
minimap. Like we see Prowlers also on the minimap driving in. So I don't know where the main spawn options are from DR. Probably behind B point, since we see a lot of flux coming in from B point, or influx for coming from B point. But we see heavy air contestment here above the base. We see tanks driving around. So it's literally an amazing fight to see here in Bittergord.
Yep, DIOR does still have a spawn point right here with some backup for the tanks, from the tanks.
So is it possible to look at the map right now if other bases also contested, or is it just only Bitter Gorge? Like basically what you want to do is make as much fires as possible on both sides. And we see that. Like look, we see a Nexus Alpha getting contested by Hydra, but we also see Hydroponics still flipping, and because of Hydroponics flipping, uh,
Both Satcom and Granite Head are secure for
yeah,
DIOR. Yeah.
exactly. So they're saving it up while attacking also Bitter Gorge, of course. So Hydra can't do anything on those two bases until they have hydroponics under control.
Yep. And this pressure from DIOR on Bitter Gorge is definitely giving them a good go. So they're even though they're a base down right now, they're definitely in a good position to snowball from this soon.
And still the air. Like Dior is still favoring the air. Like they can ground pound, they can hold the ground, and Hydra is still pushed back on the Nexus base. Like they got some breathing space, but they're back where they were.
Yeah, they definitely do seem to be holding back a little bit, just trying to take shots from long range. Probably because they're low on nanites and they can't just waste their reavers at this point. They're once again focusing the galaxies down.
I do think also in these high-level matches of those top three teams, I do think though that nanites are more important than they ever were here, since well, of course, if you are a bad team, for instance, and you get ruffle stomped, then eventually you lose your nanites also. But now between two titans, for instance, in a match, it's also nanites impactful. So it depends also who has the most nanites in the end to stay alive and keep on putting the pressure up.
Yeah, Hydra is pushing forward though with the reavers, so we're seeing some air control right now. Although there is more DIOR coming, of course. Looks like Hydra did attempt a backup on the Nexus base of DIOR, but they defended it.
Like and you see it also how tight the match is basically, because kills are just 100 kills apart. Vehicle it's just 20 apart, and a lot of rest is also on the Hydra side. But it just showed how equal the fights are basically. So yeah, it's really enjoyable to watch this.
Yeah, we're back at Bitter Gorge once again. DIOR is still putting pressure on this base. It's going back and forth by the looks of it. The points are still flipping around.
Yeah, so that Sunderer near B point is still up, it seems, with a shielded bus right behind B point, where DIOR is just coming from and contesting A point again.
Yeah, that bus is doing a lot of work for DIOR right now. Hydra's back on A points because they can obviously still use the spawn room, so looks like they push from there. Now we're having this fight around the L shapes.
And C point flipping. Oh, oh my goodness! Look at hydroponics. DIOR is contesting it, and the timer is already roughly 2.5 minutes in, which is going well for DIOR. So while Bitter Gorge is being fight over, DIOR still have spare people just to flip hydroponics, while Hydra is trying to get that air control under control, trying to get Bitter Gorge under control, and still losing seconds on hydroponics, but they
And
seem to get it back under control.
it looks like it's also just two players here. It's Dorv and Beautiful and Rusty just like putting their foot down here and trying to hold this as long as possible. And they're doing a really good job at it. It just finally went down, but I'm sure they'll be coming back to put more pressure on this base.
And still 2 minutes 40 on this base. 2 minutes 40 where Hydra can't do anything on Granite Head Reactor or on Setcom. Like they can go for the Nexus base, but that will cost a lot of time and a lot of effort for it. It's a waste of time basically. So you need to get Bitter Gorge under control, or you need to get hydroponics under control if you want to advance further.
Exactly. Looks like Hydra does have the majority pop at Bitter Gorge now, with 2 points going in their favor. We see people here in Vanguards once again taking care of the spawn points. I'm fairly certain that Sunday before DIOR finally went down. That was sparked at B point. But DIOR still has a bunch of people out here on C. I do not think they have a spawn point up though, so Hydra might be able to push them off here.
So if we can look at the map, maybe we can see if Argent Pass is getting contested, because while this is going, this is also a unique time or a good moment to contest Argent Pass for DIOR to get that base back, since you're buying time of Bitter Gorge.
Exactly, and the map is still wide open here. It can still go either way. It's a really close match so far.
Yeah.
DIOR is keeping the pressure up here. They're back on B point now, flipping this. Looks like they just have a beacon though, with not many other spawn options.
It seems that they're going actually, what you're saying, actually going only by beacons. And we still see the air coming back from DIOR. Like, DIOR has a firm hand in that air control, and Hydra is doing its best to confront it or control it or just keep it busy, but they're having a hard time to do so. And with that, it's DIOR now on set to get bases out of it.
DIOR does seem to have some air control on this specific location though, which is allowed them to put down an anvil. I'm not entirely sure if it survived, but it would have been a spawn point for them. I'd like to hope it did, because they did have air around.
Vano is with you. Do not falter.
And we see Hydra confronting the air again. So they're flexing a lot of people. Well, I don't know how many, but still they're flexing a lot of people into the air to contest the air of DIOR, to keep them busy up there, while the infantry of Hydra is trying to get Bitter Gorge, for instance, under control, or hydroponics.
Hydroponics did just get defended, so doesn't seem like the power couple got more pressure on here. They do have a Sunday up though in the back. Maybe they were working on that while we were at Bitter Gorge. There's Stealth Sunday right there, as you can see. Once again putting pressure on. Richard is in here. And they trade. Alright, so looks like nothing else going on at this base right now.
So that Thunder is still there indeed. So to look on timing, that guy can be as faster on that point, to flip that point faster than the Hydra guy, basically, to just defend Granite Head Reactor and Setcom again. So that Thunder needs to be dealt with, or else they keep on annoying Hydra on that base.
It does seem like Hydra's main focus for the last about 10 minutes, I would say, has been putting pressure on this Bitter Gorge base. I don't think they've attempted to put much effort in getting Argent Pass, because of course they would rather have this, so they get both bases at once, basically. But Hydra's been keeping them busy here. Timer is still ticking in their favor. DIOR does have the B point, but I think DIOR is having a hard time right now keeping their spawns up, even though they do have some air around. H is doing what they can to keep the air busy, so their infantry doesn't just get farmed. And Hydra does also get some tanks up now and then to clear out the Thunderers from DIOR.
Yeah, but not only that, like Argent Pass is still in the hands of Hydra. Like you expect the fact that Dior would already flipped it, but it seems that they're just too busy getting that air control under control and getting that bitter gorge. But in the meantime, as we see on Granite Head Reactor, Hydra is making a play for it.
Yeah,
So Dior,
because Hydra managed to defend hydroponics, they were able to get the back cap onto Granite Head right here. So they're putting pressure on it, and
so
getting this
basically,
base would be really good for Hydra right now.
definitely it gives them a two base advantage, of course. But also, like you're putting Dior right now on the back foot. Like Hydra is saying, okay, confront me now on Granite Head Reactor. Do what you can do with your air cover and with your air superiority. But it seems that the transition of Dior is kind of slow because we only see a couple of guys and a tank to just confront the Granite Head Reactor.
Exactly, but the points are back into Hydra's favor. They were just flipping there for a moment. This Galaxy looks like it's not gonna make it. Oh, there's a big drop from them though. That's a lot of people that are about to get clear out C points. So Dior is reacting. It might be late, but it might be just fast enough actually.
Probably too late. Like it goes back to 12 seconds, so 10 now, 8, 9. There you go. They need to get that B point as soon as possible under control, or else it's just gonna be a Hydra base.
And there we
There you
go.
go.
Hydra get another
Basically,
base.
a couple of seconds too late.
Yep, they could have dropped someone on A because I don't think Dior had any people, Hydra had any people there that could have saved them the base actually.
So what we saw is probably a transition from Hydra out of Bitter Gorge towards Granite Head Reactor to cap that base, and now they will come back for sure. And in the
Now,
meantime, Dior got more time on this base.
now it's all about how fast Hydra can respond and retake this. If they can now hold on to this as well, then they made a very good play there.
Yeah, exactly.
And if Hydra now also manages to get onto Nexus Secure Station down south, then they can definitely take the upper hand in this game by a lot.
Seems that that Dior was too focused on getting Bitter Gorge, and just let it slip on Granite Head Reactor or that hydroponics base to confront it basically, or to get Argent Pass. And because of that tunnel vision with focusing also on getting air control, Hydra just got another base out of the fight, and that was Granite Head Reactor.
And the crazy thing is that it was just because the two people on hydroponics died and the base got secured that basically allowed the Hydra to get Granite Head now and then potentially go even further.
Yeah. So what I do think is that Dior has probably more people in the air, but sufficient enough to keep Hydra at bay, but also that they can't move out of that or go into ground pounding, since Hydra is just confronting them or contesting them so much in the air. They can't focus on ground pounding and leverage that air control, for instance. So Hydra is doing a good or God's work to keep that Dior air busy, and in the meantime having the extra infantryman to get Granite Head Reactor and to save Bitter Gorge and the hydroponics out of it.
Yeah, it would be great if we could have another look at the map here so we could see what's going on at Nexus Secure and Satcom as well. Meanwhile, it looks like Dior did try and get Granite Head back. No backups on Nexus Secure right now, and Satcom seems to be safe as well, so not much going on there. We see some Galaxies once again over here at Granite Head from Dior. A bunch of Hydra grouping up in the spawn room right now to try and push back out again. They still have control over B point at the moment, but Dior seems to be making a play for it.
Yeah, it seems that the focus shifted to Granite Head Reactor. I do think though, like a cheeky ghost cap on Argent Pass, or just to let the timer run, gives you pressure off Nexus on your Nexus base. Yeah, it seems that the fight is now going to happen now on Granite Head Reactor.
Yeah, Hydra seems to be a little stuck in the spawn room here. I think Dior does have some air to grind up right now. Hydra's using some burster maxes. Now we just moved over to Argent Pass right here.
There you
We're
go.
also seeing a push from Hydra out of the spawn room. Doesn't look like DIOR has a heavy presence here, so this should be light work for the Hydra guys.
And they're pushing in. And they got the A point under control. So this is good, just to confront Hydra on their bases and send the guy or to just flip the point and just ask for 6 guys to respond of that by Hydra. That means that those 6 guys are not here on Granite Head Reactor.
Yeah,
If that is
exactly.
if that is impactful, that's the bigger question, of course. But it gives some leverage for DIOR basically if they keep them busy on other bases. If you're trying to focus on Granite Head. But
That's
it seems
exactly what DIOR needs.
yeah, it seems that Hydra is pushing out already, and that they're almost at the doorstep of the 2 points. So they're doing well on defending this Granite Head Reactor. But in the meantime, we also see air coming down.
Yeah, Hydra might have a hard time actually getting to this powerhouse in triple stack by just running over the bridges. But they do seem to be getting there.
3 minutes on that clock, and still, like kill-wise and vehicle or anti-vehicle wise or kill-wise on vehicles, like it's still equal like it was 15 minutes ago. So it really is an equal fight. It's really interesting to see.
Yeah, the 150 kill difference is something, but it's been looking stable for the majority of the match. The difference, so, and the vehicle difference is actually quite small. It's surprising, to be honest.
So this is good to see. Like hydroponics is getting contested by DIOR, Granite Head Reactor is getting contested by DIOR, and we also saw Argent Pass getting contested. Like that's what you need to do to see if one of those 3 fights will get a base out of it. But you need to hold it basically. Well, that's the magic trick. And also leverage your air more. But it seems that the air of DIOR is still stuck or getting contested constantly, so they can't focus with those rocket pods on Hydra. They're doing a very good job, Hydra itself, to keep that air away from their infantry.
And moving on from the shotgun meta there, we're back into the air right now. Once again, a bunch of reavers up for Hydra. Still not playing fairly passive, but you know, keeping DIOR busy for sure.
Show them.
Yeah, it's fun to see. So maybe we can look at the map again to see what the timers are on each base. So we see Argent Pass getting ticked, or it's getting safe probably. Hydroponics is getting back in Hydra's favor, and we see the majority of the focus is now on Granite Head Reactor. An orbital coming also in at the moment. So will it go through? That's the big question.
DIOR is really going for this, pulling the orbital, but still A point is slipping. The DIOR really need this base if they want to do like anything in the last 15 minutes of this match. So it is really important they get this, but it's same for Hydra. They also really need to defend this. So the next 1 minute, 2 minutes will be very interesting, seeing what happens on this base. I'm not sure how many spawn points DIOR still has up, which is probably gonna play a major role in who ends up winning this again.
Yeah, so we still see ground pounding happening. We see Burster Maxes coming out of the spawn room. B point is getting contested. Well, a lot contested. We see 3 beacons, so 3 squads trying to focus on that B point. And it seems that they're pushing DIOR back.
Yeah, Hydra is doing surprisingly well just using the spawn room here. Which
and
is,
not
you
DIOR
know,
now coming in.
Yeah, it can be attributed to Hydra doing a great job keeping the DIOR air busy. You see some crashing galaxies right there. It's not what you want, of course, but I guess it happens. It's another DIOR galaxy taking heavy damage. Which I think means that Hydra is, at the moment, pushing DIOR off of his base.
Yeah, so basically what I think is happening right now, that on airwise, DIOR wants to leverage that, but they're getting contested by Hydra, which is perfect for Hydra because that means that there are less ground pounding for the Hydra infantry to push forward. And I think on strategies wise or micromanaging wise on the map itself, I think Hydra is better in that. Just transitioning their people, putting fires or making fires out. Like they're doing a really good job in it, and DIOR doesn't get a firm hold on bases when they're trying to go for it. They're constantly getting pushed out. It seems that their priority are different than Hydra are.
And we're taking a look at Sobrowski here marching around the B point. Looks like it's clear for now, and C point is also flipping. Yeah, there we go. You see a bunch of Hydra guys running around here. Looks like DIOR is really fully wiped off of this base. Not considering a couple vehicles that are still around.
Rise to the moment you can prevail.
So yeah, Hydra got this, which is good for them. Moving on to Satcom here for the first time this game. It seems like DIOR is pushing up the stairs, going towards A. That looks like a Hydra harasser again. Which we've seen quite a few times from Hydra. They have their harasser duo that does this kind of stuff usually, so they're also here helping Hydra hold this point, but DIOR managed to scare them away with the max and the infantry they got here. So they have all the points now, and the majority of pop as well.
Yeah, so they saved their Satcom base. So that's it's really good, but yet again, they're Hydra is keeping DIOR busy now on Satcom, so they have time to save basically Granite Head Reactor or save Hydroponics or Argent Path. Oh my! See now, Argent Path getting attacked now by DIOR, and
Yeah.
also getting saved by Hydra.
Yeah, Hydra is ready on the point right here, and I'm not sure if they already pushed DIOR off once, but they seem to have quite a good presence. Looks like DIOR does have a Sunday downstairs, or a spawn point at least, because they're running up from there. They have a Galaxy on the roof as well. It's like DIOR is slowly pushing in.
Amazing fighting, like two Titans fighting each other basically.
Yeah, Hydra currently holding on the stairs, trying to get the people up that are upstairs. Some competitive planet side gaming right here. They were pushing inside. NC or Hydra putting down the orbital. Should wipe all the DIOR people off the roof. But it does look like DIOR got inside just fast enough, and they got the point back.
Yeah. 45 seconds on that clock. Will DIOR get it? And let's have a last 10-minute good fighting for the last base to make it a draw or make it just a win for Hydra. It will be very interesting what will happen. 20 seconds now.
Yeah, more Hydra coming in from the spawn room. DIOR putting down another orbital to stop that push from going in.
10 seconds. It's gonna be very interesting now. If it isn't already in the past.
Five seconds left right here, and it seems to be going the way of DIOR. I don't think Hydra can get this back.
And there we go.
So with just under 10 minutes left of this match, we have a 4 and 5 base split, which is because of DIOR having Satcom and Hydra having the other middle bases being Granite Head and Bitter Gorge. Looking at the map right now, there's nothing going on really. Looks like Hydra is defending Hydroponics right now. There's quite a few people here actually. I thought it was just a simple backup being defended, but looks like DIOR is trying to push this. They must have a spawn point up somewhere. They also got the terminal hacked.
And a nice cheeky harasser coming back in. Like it's a great question what DIOR is gonna be doing now. Like, are they going to say, okay, we're gonna go for the middle bases because they're 2-minute cap timers and just split forces and see and hope for the best basically, and confront Hydra on 2 bases, or are they saying, well, we're gonna dump 1 base to make sure it goes through? It's gonna be very interesting. And in all that time, in the whole match, that southern base of DIOR was never contested. So can we look at the map? Maybe we can see if there's any other fights and slash bases getting contested.
Yeah, it seems like the lifetime of the Sunday is getting shorter and shorter with Hydra pushing it and the lightning coming out. DIOR has once again got a Sunday up here at Bitter Gorge with a few people on the point.
Spotted an enemy heavy.
But not flipped yet.
Yeah, the point is on the roof, of course, which is not usual. In life, they're usually inside, either open or closed. So they have to push up on the roof.
Yeah, so
Which
the
they're
question
doing.
is, did they backcap? Because that point is still not... Okay, there we go. Sorry, I thought it was backcapped on Argent Pass again. So the fight is now transitioning to Bitter Gorge. I'm questioning myself if hydroponics, if Granite Head Reactor is getting contested also by DIOR. Like you still need to split up the Hydra forces, or else you will get pushed back, or there will be a massive stallment on one base, and then eventually you will lose as DIOR. So yeah, DIOR needs to step up basically to get one more base out of it, and to make it into a draw.
Yeah.
And then I believe
Not a draw.
eventually, I do believe eventually Hydra will win due to the points that they got out of this match, but I don't know for sure.
Well, you can't draw, so I don't think we have to worry about that.
Okay, so that's easy. Oh, of course. Stupid me.
Yeah, you can't draw, of course, but yeah, it's nice to see that with just 6 minutes left, it's still sort of open as to who's gonna win this match. But only one base making the difference between the teams. We're at Nexus Seeker right now, which is being flipped by Hydra. But DIOR does have the air control, so I doubt Hydra is gonna have any spawn points up for long.
Basically, Hydra can trade out bases. Like if they kept timer going, for instance, they lose one base but win one base, and they're on equal footing that they are right now. So DIOR needs to kick them off on this base, or else it's going to be a hard time to win this match, basically.
Yep. Oh, but all points are flipped on Bitter Gorge right now, so
Better than this.
looks like Hydra is gonna have to make a decision here.
Yeah. Still an open base, a big base though. So Hydra can stall it pretty long. And in the meantime, of course, that side base or that base next to Nexus is still ticking down if DIOR is not saving it. So yeah, it's gonna be very tough fighting in the end. 5 minutes on the clock.
Lots of beacons around here, so those are not being taken care of. Hydra does seem to be coming back here to Bitter Gorge. They got their A point back. Looks like they got C as well, and now they're probably gonna get full focus on this B point. Couple anvils coming in, just small ones though, with a flash.
D point still flickering again.
Rip flash.
And what's the timer now on that base that's south of DIOR?
Fight harder.
Like is
Yeah, can we
is Hydra still on it?
Can we get another quick look at the map?
Oh, there we go. We're right at it. So basically 2 minutes already in. Cheeky harasser driving around again.
Fight harder.
Yeah, Hydra lost their cheeky harassers.
I think it's Ground Trooper, right?
I'm not sure, we can't see the name. Oh, there we go. So Hydra putting pressure on both Satcom and Nexus Secure. So that's gonna put them in a really good position as long as they can keep delaying Bitter Gorge. I think with these timers that they have right now, they're very safe on these bases. It's of course not as much as they need technically, but of course if DIOR wants to cap another base, they also need time for that. So I think the Hydra is in a very good position right now to take the win here. As
Yeah,
long as
definitely.
they can hold on to Bitter Gorge, they should be fine.
Definitely. Like that beacon will get a squad of Hydra people in again, confront DIOR again, keeping them busy on that base. But in the meantime, DIOR is getting pushed off Bitter Gorge, which seems that was going to be DIOR's focus to get a win out of this match. But it seems Hydra is pushing them back, and it seems very dire for DIOR.
Yeah, DIOR once again repushing this B point for what seems like the millionth time this game. But the Hydra is still here, still finding them, still keeping them busy and not giving them this base.
You are better than this. Show them.
2 minutes and 40 left now in the alert timer or the match timer.
Yeah.
And yeah, the base timer isn't looking good for DIOR. I think it's almost over here. It's almost time to call GG's. Hydra seems to be getting back every single point here. So
Yeah, I think that is it. If DIOR kicked Hydra off that southern base, then there's nothing
I
left to
still know
play
that
for.
you can prevail.
but it's once again interesting looking at the kill difference. It actually increased over the last few minutes, not by a lot, but Hydra does seem to have a couple, like more than 100, almost 200 kills less than DIOR has, but they managed to win here, so it's very cool.
Yep.
It's not all about the kills. The vehicle kills are very even though, like almost on the top.
So now basically the panic is breaking out. All of the DIOR's coming in now on this base. It's the only thing that they can do. They need to get this base basically, or else it's just over. But there's already too much time already on the Hydra side. It's not gonna happen.
See a Citadel shield coming down here last minute. Yours still has these galaxies up, still providing spawn points for them. But it wasn't enough.
Nope. All being too late. Good to see that they're fighting till the end.
You're getting a point back by the looks of it. Point still flipping. C is also in DIOR's favor. But it is all too late, of course. There's 30 seconds left on the match. But it's as you said, it's nice to see them fighting until the end. But we've seen them pretty much every match that has been attended, of course, because we had a couple that weren't attended. But beside that, it's all good. Looks like that's it for the game.
Yeah, GG. GG to both teams and excellent work by Hydra.
Yeah, exactly. GG. Very nice match to watch. Actually, one of the closer ones for sure. There we go. Hydra is victorious. Very well done from both teams.
Yeah, definitely. We will see a lot of meme videos coming up, I believe. Good
Yeah, I
fighting.
hope we do. I hope we do. The meme videos have been there have been few, but they have been good. So we get another one out of this.
Quality.
All right. So Toby, let's end with one final question.
And
Like,
also got
what do you
kicked out
think
the sanctuary.
after watching the match? What do you think managed to get the upper hand for Hydra and basically got them the win? Do you think it was once again Hydra just having the faster infantry, or was there another reason for them getting the dub?
Well, I think it's multifactorial. Like Hydra definitely have the air people to confront the DIOR even though they're outnumbered. They can keep them busy basically to get those cheeky kills, to just make sure that DIOR is not basically transitioning to an air to ground situation. And if that was true, they placed a couple of people more into the air on the Hydra side and then pushed them back a bit. We didn't see that a lot on the teams that are in Outfit Wars. We see it a bit on Hot, but definitely it's good to see from Hydra that they can confront that air with the skill they have. And by that, DIOR couldn't exploit their strength, and that's the air. And then with Hydra having, well, let's say a little bit more of infantry players, micromanaging or macromanaging the map more, splitting up more over the map, put DIOR more on the back foot, sort of say. While DIOR was constantly focusing mainly on one base. Like they tried to be annoying on other bases, but Hydra was prepared for it. But like Bitter Gorge, that was basically the main focus on DIOR, and because of that, Hydra took Granite Head Reactor out of it basically, and also Argent Pass in the after the opener. So really good play by Hydra, playing the map correctly or pushing on multiple fronts on the map, and DIOR basically didn't have an answer because they were focusing on one goal. So I'm very interested in next match, Hot versus Hydra, because both teams can do that. What Hydra just showed. So
Exactly.
more we will see more strategy wise, which strategy will be better because skill level is just almost equal in both teams. So I'm very interested. It's going to be a really good match basically, and also really tight, just like this one.
Yeah, so just to repeat real quick, this was the second semifinal for Cobalt. Hot won the previous match against Bok, which was about an hour, 2 hours ago. IH taking the dub here means that next week's final will be Hot versus Hydra. Both NC teams, both very good. So it's hopefully going to be another close match like today. But yeah, that's for next week. So thank you, Toby, for casting with me today. I also want to thank Dracoy for doing the production and switching between the multiple POVs, as well as Raquel, Duckies, and Ilario for providing the cams for us. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching as well. And see each other next week for the finals.
Yeah. Thank you all for watching. See ya.